Good morning, students. How are you all? Good. Today we are going to learn a new interesting chapter, that is cell structure and functions. So, the topic of the lesson is cell structure and functions. So, this chapter number 8. The chapter number 8, the topic is cell structure and functions. In this lesson, first thing in this lesson, we are going to learn a brief introduction about the cell, and then discovery of the cell, and then number of cell, size of shell, and then shape of the cells, followed by cell structure and functions, and then parts of the cell. So in this topic, cell membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus. And the last topic in this lesson is comparison of plant and animal cell. So these are the topics we are going to learn in this chapter. Okay. So in the first session, that is in this class, we are going to learn a brief introduction about the cell, and then the history of the cell, and then number of cells, size of cells, and then shape of the cells. Okay, now listen, children. Basically, building is made up of walls, slabs, flooring, and all. Isn't it? Okay, so building is made up of walls, slabs, flooring, and all. So, what are these walls made of? Good. The walls are made of bricks. So, the walls are made of bricks only. So, brick is the basic unit. Brick is the basic unit with which a wall is made. And all the walls together constitute a room. Yes, all the walls constitute together a room, and all the rooms constitute a building. Clear, children? First, a building is made of walls, slabs, flooring and all. Okay, so here wall is made of bricks. So bricks are the basic unit of the wall. So all the walls join together and form a room, and all the room constitute a building. Okay, in a similar fashion, cells they join together to form a tissue. Clear, children? Cells, that means more than one cells. More than one cell join together and form a tissue. So tissue means combination of cells. Tissue means combination of cells. So cells join together to form a tissue, and then tissues join together and form an organ. Okay, first cells join and form a tissue, and then tissues join together and form a organs, and then this organ join together and form a organism. Clear, children? First, many cells join together and form a tissue, and tissues join together and form an organ, and the organ join together to form an organism. So, this is the organization is compared with the building. Clear, children? So, here I compared the organization with the building. Okay, so here cell is the basic structural and functional unit of an organism. In that case, brick is the basic unit of the building. Okay, but here cell is the basic structural and functional unit of an organism. It means I am made up of organs. My organs are So this is the cork cell and it was observed by Robert Hooke. So as I said before, it was the first cell was discovered by Robert Hooke. So he observed slices of cork under a simple magnifying device. So here cork means it is a kind of a dead part of the tree. It is a kind of dead cell from the bark of a tree. So Robert Hooke took the thin slices of cork. He cut the cork into thin slices and then he observed them under a microscope. There he noticed some boxes. He noticed some boxes. So these boxes appeared like a honeycomb. The box appeared like a honeycomb, and he also noticed that one box was separated from the other by a wall. So then the Robert Hooke coined the name cell for each box. From he observed the boxes appeared like a honeycomb, and then he noticed one thing: the boxes was separated from the other by a wall, and then he coined the term cell for each box. So this was the first cell which was observed by Robert Hooke in the year 1665. So it is a cork. So cork means a dead part of a tree. So he observed a cell by a cork. So first he cut the bark into a thin slices and then keep them in a microscope and observed and then he observed. So later he observed there is a boxes. So these boxes were appear like a honeycomb. So later he noticed one thing: the boxes was separated from other by a wall, and then he coined a name. He coined a cell for each box. So this is about the cork cell was discovered by Robert Hooke, and it is the cork is a dead cells. Here later, after 150 years after the discovery of this cell, living tissues were observed, and it was observed under the advanced microscope. Here students, first dead cell, that is a cork, was observed under a simple magnifying device or a simple microscope, but after the discovery of the cork cell, that is about after 150 years, a living tissue were observed under the advanced microscope. But here Robert Hooke is the first person who discovered the cell by using the slice of the cork. So here cell is the basic unit of the living organisms. So next, here we compare this cell with a brick. So both are same. If you see a wall, the wall is made of bricks, isn't it? Okay. So no doubt, these bricks are the units of the wall, but they are only the structural units. They does not perform any specific function. There is no activity. They are not dynamic. So, and there is no activity inside the bricks. Just they are the physical units. And here all the units are of same size. See, all the bricks are same size. and same shape also. So to make a wall, we need a bricks are of same size and they are in same shape. Then only we can make a wall. So if you want to make a wall, you need to have a same size of bricks, isn't it? Okay, good. But it is not in the case of the cell. Listen very carefully, students. If we want to make a wall, we need to have a same size of bricks. But it is not in the case of the cell. Living organisms are not made up of the same kind of cells. Listen very carefully. Living organisms are not made up of same kind of cells. Cells are of different shapes and sizes. And cells are different shapes. Certain cells are round, certain cells are oval, and their sizes are also different. It may be very large or it may be very small. Okay, so this is the about the this is about the cell and the brick wall. So here we compare the wall with the onion cell. So if you want to make a wall, we have a same size of bricks, but it is not in the case of cells, because living organisms are not made up of same kind of cells. Cells are of different shapes and sizes, and cells are different shapes. It may be round, oval, polygon, hexagon, oval, and so on. And it may be different size too, and it may be very large or it may be very small. And so in a building, the bricks are the basic structural units. The bricks are the basic structural unit. Whereas when we talk about a cell, here like living organism, here cells are the structural units. So in a building, bricks are the structural units, and in a living organism, cells are the structural units. Let us discuss cell number, shape and size. Okay, first let us talk about the number of cells. So can you guess the number of cells in a tall tree? Okay, the number runs into billions and trillions. Likewise, human body has trillions of cells which vary in shapes and sizes. Here, different group of cells perform a variety of functions. So, our human body has trillions, not a billion or a, so it contains trillions of cells which vary in shapes and sizes. So, these group of cells perform a variety of functions. Okay, children. Now, so an organism made of more than one cells are called multicellular. Here, children, uh, basically cells are classified into two types based on their number of cells. The one is unicellular and the another one is multicellular. Got it? Okay. So now multicellular means an organism is made of more than one cell. An organism made of more than one cell are called a multicellular organism. So you know that multi means many, and here cellular means cell. So multicellular is the combination of two different words, that is multi and cellular. So multi means many and cellular means cell. So multicellular means an organism which is made up of more than one cell. This is very important, students. Underline the word more than one cell are called a multicellular organism. So an organism which possesses more than one cells are called a multicellular organism. So here multicellular is the combination of two different words. So multi means many and cellular means cell. So the number of cell being less in smaller organism does not in any way it affects the functioning of the organism. So in a smaller organism a number of cell will be less and it does not affect the functioning of the organism. So I repeat, in a small and organism, number of cells are less in number and it doesn't affect the functioning of the organism. So this is about the multicellular organisms. Listen children, first the number of cells, the cells are classified into two types based on their number. So it is two types, they are unicellular and multicellular organism. So first multicellular. So multicellular means an organism which possesses more than one cell is called a multicellular organisms. Okay, and in a small organisms the number of cells are less in number, but it doesn't affect the functioning of the organisms. So this is about the multicellular organisms. So here are some of the examples of multicellular organisms. So next thing we are going to learn about the unicellular organism. Okay students, now look at the picture. There are two pictures in the slide. So the first one is amoeba, the second one is paramecium. So both these organisms are made up of a single cell. Both the amoeba and paramecium are made up of a single cell. So the single celled organisms are called unicellular. Clear children? So in multicellular, it means more than one cells are called a multicellular. But here unicellular means single celled organism. That means that organism contains only one cell. That means unicellular organisms. So here unicellular is the combination of two different words. They are uni and cellular. So uni means one and cellular means cell. So it clearly says an organism which contains only one cell is called a unicellular organism. So this is the main difference between the unicellular and the multicellular organisms. So in the multicellular organisms, more than one cells are called multicellular. But in the unicellular, only single celled organisms are called unicellular organisms. So uni means one and cellular means a cell. So like the multicellular organism, a single celled organism, that is amoeba or paramecium, it also performs all the necessary functions. What the multicellular organism perform. Okay, so a single celled organisms like amoeba, for example an amoeba, so first it captures and digests food, and then respires and then excretes and then grows and reproduces. So in the similar functions are also carried out in the multicellular organisms. But the only difference is in the multicellular organisms, these functions are carried out by a group of specialized cells, it forming different tissues. Okay, but in unicellular, it all these functions are carried out by a single cell. So this is the main difference between the multicellular and the unicellular organisms. So I repeat, unicellular organisms means a single celled organism is called a unicellular organism. So uni means one and cellular means cell. So like a multicellular organism, it also a unicellular also performs all the necessary functions. Okay. So next thing we are going to learn about the shape of the cell. So the next topic is shape of the cell. So in the previous slide, what do you observe? You may see amoeba and paramecium. Okay. So how do you define the shape of amoeba? You may say that the shape appears irregular. Amoeba has irregular shape. It has no definite shape. Okay, amoeba has no definite shape. It keeps on changing its shape. So, an organism which continuously changing its shapes are called pseudopodia. Okay, listen to me very carefully. And organisms which keeping on changing its shape is called a pseudopodia. So here pseudopodia is also a combination of two different words. Pseudo means false and podia means feet. Listen to me very carefully. Pseudo means false, okay, and podia means feet. So amoeba has irregular, it has no definite shape, it is irregular, and it keeps on changing its shape. So an organism which continuously changes its shapes are called pseudopodia. So here pseudo means false and podia means feet. Okay, so generally cells are in different shapes. It may be round, it may be spherical, or it may be elongated. Okay, so like cells are in different shapes. So for example, our RBC, that is our red blood cells, are spherical in shapes. Okay, so the cell has a definite shape. So our RBC is spherical in shape. Then some cells are long and they are pointed at both the ends. Some cells are long and they are pointed at both the ends. So such types of cells are called as spindle shaped cells. Here our muscle cells, okay, so we are all having muscles, so this muscle shape cells are spindle in shape. First, our RBC, that is our human blood, consists of two types of blood cells, that is one is our red blood cells and another one is white blood cells. So this red blood cells are spherical in shape, and then our muscle cells are spindle in shape. Muscle cells are spindle in shape. So a spindle shape means the cells which are very long, that is long, and it is pointed at both the ends. Okay, and some are branched, some are some having branch like structures like the nerve cell or a neuron. Okay, so some cells possess a branch like structures that like a nerve cells or a neuron. So the function of the nerve cell is first it receives the message and then transfers the message, and then help to control and coordinate the working of different parts of the body. This is the functioning of our nerve cell. So our nerve cell first receives some message and then transfers this message into electrical signal, and then it helping to control and coordinate the working of different parts of the body. Okay, so there is a component which gives shape to a cell. Okay, so the component of the cells are enclosed in a membrane. So next, the last topic in this session is size of the cell. So basically most of the cells are microscopic in size. So now tell me, what is mean by microscopic? So microscopic means cells are very small. Cells are very small in size. We can't able to see them in our naked eyes. Okay, they are not visible. They are not visible to our naked eyes. So we need some magnifying instrument or a microscope to see an cell. Such types of cells are known as microscopic cells. So most of the cells are microscopic in nature. So the size of the smallest cell is 0.1 to 0.5 micrometer. So write it down. Size of the smallest cell is 0.1 to 0.5 micrometer in the bacteria. So the size of the smallest cell in bacteria is 0.1 to 0.5. And then in an ostrich, okay, in an ostrich, the largest cell and its size is about 170 mm to 130 mm. So the largest cell measuring 170 mm into 130 mm is the egg of an ostrich. So the smallest cell is 0.1 to 0.5 micrometer in a bacteria, and the largest cell in a egg of an ostrich is 170 mm into 130 mm. Clear, children? Okay. So here we have. So here the size of the cell has no relation with the size of the animal. So here there is no relation between the size of the cell to the size of the animal. So for example, nerve cells. So both the elephant and rat are having the nerve cells. So we all know elephant is very big in size, and when compared to elephant, rat is very small in size. Okay, so but both are having the nerve cells, isn't it? Okay, and the nerve cells are long and branched. In elephant and rat also the nerve cells are long and branched. So here the nerve cells perform the same function. So what function it is performed in the elephant, it is the same in the rat also. So this is the very important point. So the nerve cells in the elephant and rat are long and branched, but they perform the same function. That is, the function of the nerve cell is transferring the messages. So Here we have to know there is no relation between the size of the cell and the size of the body of an animal. So this is about the size of the cell. So basically most of the cells are microscopic in size. So here in a bacteria the smallest cell is about 0.1 to 0.5 micrometer, and in an egg of an ostrich its size is 170 mm into 130 mm. It is the largest cell, and here there is no relation between the size of the cell to the size of a body of an animal. Both both the organisms having the same function, so there is no relation between the size of the cell and the size of the body of an animal. So this is about the size of the cell. So in this class we have learned about the brief introduction about the cell, and then the discovery of the cell. So a cell was first discovered by Robert Hooke in the year 1665, and then the size of the cell, number of the cell, and the shape of the cells. So I hope you all understood the topic very well. Thank you.